Hello children. Today's topic for our session is biotechnology. Now in Form 12 we have two chapters which are based on biotechnology. One is principles and processes, and other chapter of biology deals with biotechnology and its application. So today we start with the first part of biotechnology, principles and processes. Now, once we start moving with this biotechnology, let's have a little introduction to the topic which we are going to discuss about it. When we talk about the definition of biotechnology, the definition of biotechnology goes that it is a kind of a process in which living organisms, their enzymes or their molecules are used to obtain a product or develop a process which is meant for the welfare of the mankind. If you talk about an easy version of this definition, it says straight away that use of the living organism and products made by the living organisms for the betterment of the human being. Now, every living organism will make hundreds of biomolecules, hundreds of enzymes, and many other things it's going to make for itself. It will not make it for other organisms. But in case of biotechnology, what we do is that we genetically alter the genetic combinations of simple organisms, and because of that manipulation of the genetic code, that organism produces certain products which is useful for the mankind as a whole. Here we have a very good example of insulin. We will be studying that thing also in our coming chapter. Is that every human body synthesizes the required amount of insulin. Okay, now when a human body needs insulin, it is formed inside the beta cells of islets of Langerhans in pancreas, and that the regulation of glucose is done with the help of that insulin. But if one human being is not capable of synthesizing that insulin because of any disease, so now that because of a diabetic disease, a person is not able to synthesize this insulin. So that doesn't mean that person will be left like that. Now medical science have insulin injections which a patient can take it to lower down the glucose level. Now from where that insulin has come? That insulin has been produced by the organisms. We'll study about it, E. coli, and how they are producing human insulin. How? Because they are genetically altered to produce such kind of biomolecule for the body. So this is what biotechnology does. If you talk about some history about it, the person called as Paul Berg is called as father of genetic engineering, which is an outcome of biotechnology. When we talk about father of biotechnology, Karl Ehrke is called as the father of biotechnology, and he himself gave the name this word biotechnology in 1990. So he is the father of our chapter which we are working on, that is biotechnology. Now there is a you can read this slide. There is an association, excuse me, European Federation of Biotechnology, where different labs and different companies which are related to it, they are clubbed together and they work as a whole unit. They themselves have given a kind of a definition of biotechnology. What it says, let me read it. Biotechnology is the integration of natural science and organism cells, parts of the cells, molecular analogues of products and services. The meaning of the whole of this definition comes the same, that use of the living organism and that living organism which it produces either a bio molecule or an enzyme or a product, and it can be used by the human beings for its welfare. That is the biotechnology definition given by this European Federation of Biotechnology. This are little bit history and a kind of an introduction to it. How biotechnology has been introduced into our life, that also we have an idea about insulin. some future aspects, there are many different types of projects going on all around the world, where the actual genetic code of the organisms are worked with, and they are trying to manipulate it out to get the better results. One of the beautiful projects which has been worked upon by some of the universities is like, why not introduce the property of bioluminescence in plant? Now, what is bioluminescence? That we know. Bioluminescence is a property where an organism has self-glowing ability because of some chemicals present in the body. To be more specific, if I talk about, we have fireflies. Fireflies, they have got a kind of a chemical called as luciferin, an enzyme luciferase, and because of the presence of this luciferin, what it does, that in the morning time, in the daytime, it can absorb the photons coming from the sunlight, and during the night time they go for some chemical reaction, and that energy which they have absorbed can be emitted out as a kind of a glow from the body. Now, this very property of the firefly, scientists are trying to incorporate into plants. Now, it's not necessary that only firefly has such kind of modifications in the genetic makeup that it can absorb the light in the sun in the daylight and it can emit it in the night. Even there are some fungi also there which can go for bioluminescence. Some bacteria are also there which go for bioluminescence. So scientists are trying to take out that genetic code which gives this property to a bacteria to grow, and that genetic code can be incorporated into a plant which will make that plant itself a glowing plant. A little success has been found. This all process can happen with the help of biotechnology. A little success has been found, but still that much glowing ability in a plant that you can keep that plant instead of any other light source is still going on. Just this example tells that what is the scope of biotechnology. This is one of the interesting facts where this particular technology or the process is being used. Let us move ahead with it. When we talk about the core technologies which develop biotechnology are, let me read the slide. Genetic engineering, which is modification of chemical nature of DNA or RNA, and their introduction in host organism to change the phenotypical character of the host. That is what I was talking about. In case of genetic engineering, we have some desired DNA. That desired DNA can be introduced into the host DNA, thus making the host change the phenotypic appearance or the phenotypic characters of a host. So that is the one core technique which is there in biotechnology. Second, sterilization methods to maintain the growth and manipulation of only the desired microbes or cell in large quantity to manufacture biotechnological products like antibiotic, vaccines, enzymes, etc. Now, this particular point is very important. Now, when we are introducing a foreign DNA into the host has to be kept into a sterile condition, because that particular host now becomes very important to us. We cannot allow that host to be infected, and once the host gets infected, it might also infect the product of our interest which that host is going to produce. So a sterile microorganism free environment has to be maintained in which that host can grow properly and can produce the molecule of our interest. So not only incorporating the foreign DNA is important, it is also very important that foreign DNA remains into the host is capable of multiplying into sterile condition, and the product which that host is going to produce because of our desired DNA is also produced continuously without interruption. So this is actually the commercialization of biotechnology. What are the basic steps in it? First, identifying of a DNA with desired gene, introduction of that DNA into host to form recombinant DNA, maintenance of DNA in the host, and gene cloning and gene transfer. Now let us understand one by one what happens. Now in this case, when we talk about the genetic engineering, Here, for example, in a bacteria, there is some specific genes are present which are giving specific properties to that bacteria. We want that particular genetic code from that bacteria, and that particular genetic code should be incorporated into a plant. So what we will do, first we identify a desired DNA which is present in the bacteria. Once we get that DNA, which is the desired DNA, we will cut that DNA from that bacterial genetic code. Then that DNA will be incorporated into a vector. Now, what are vectors basically? Vectors are those organisms or those pieces of the DNA which can carry the foreign DNA in themselves, and they can enter the host cell, because host cells are not going to allow the foreign DNA as such to come itself. If we have to introduce into a plant, if we have to introduce that thing in a animal cell, plant cell, animal cell, or even any other bacteria, foreign DNA will be not allowed to come inside the cell as easily. But vectors, they first of all, they themselves incorporate that foreign DNA in themselves, and then that vector goes and introduce its, and it moves inside the bacterial cell or animal cell or plant cell and delivers our desired DNA, and that desired DNA is now incorporated into the genetic genome of the plant, animal, or the bacterial cell. Thus, the host cell is now having the our desired DNA in it, and because of that desired DNA, the host cell will be capable of producing the required biomolecule. So once this desired DNA goes into the cell and it gets incorporated, we call it as recombinant DNA. Recombinant means desired DNA has been now attached to the host genome now, which is ready to synthesize our own biomolecule. So such DNA where desired DNA is attached is called as recombinant DNA, and the whole thing is called as recombinant technology. Then we allow the cloning of that cell. That is the third step, which you can see, that DNA which has been introduced into the host cell, that DNA should be maintained, should be there with the host genome, plus the host cell will keep on multiplying, and finally once the host will multiply, the same gene which has been incorporated in one host, when it makes its multiple copy, it starts getting transferred, it starts getting multiplied again. So this is step-by-step fashion of the genetic engineering, which is based on biotechnology. When we talk about this thing, the first known recombinant DNA was created by two scientists, Cohen and Boyer. And what they did was that they worked upon a bacterium called as Salmonella typhimurium. Now this Salmonella typhimurium had a gene which was capable of having resistance towards an antibiotic. So that was the desired gene which we wanted to separate it out. So we separated that genetic code, and this genetic code was loaded in a plasmid. Now plasmid means that is some plasmid is a kind of a extracellular DNA which is having very few nucleotide bases. So that desired DNA was taken out from that Salmonella typhimurium, and it was incorporated in the plasmid, and that plasmid was allowed to enter E. coli, and then that E. coli was allowed to multiply. So once that desired DNA was incorporated into the plasmid structure, that was called as recombinant DNA. That is, it is attached to the DNA. I'm just reading the steps now. The gene encoding antibiotic resistance in the native plasmid of the Salmonella typhimurium was identified. Plasmid is an autonomously replicating extracircular chromosomal DNA. The desired DNA was cut at specific location by restriction enzyme. The cut DNA was linked to a plasmid DNA and transferred to E. coli for the genetic multiplication. is it like this? Again, I'm repeating the same thing. Salmonella typhimurium had a genetic code present in itself which was coding for disease resistant. It was present in the plasmid of salmonella itself. So from there it was taken out. Then it was again incorporated on separate plasmid material, and once it got attached to that plasmid material delivered, it went inside the E. coli bacteria, and then that desired DNA was delivered inside the E. coli, and it got incorporated with the genetic makeup of the E. coli, and then sterile conditions were maintained around E. coli so that it can multiply, and same desired DNA can also multiply along with the E. coli. What are different materials which are used for this recombinant technology? First is restriction enzyme. Now restriction enzyme, we call them as molecular scissors, which have capacity to cut the DNA at specific points. Polymerase enzymes means they help in ability to multiply the amount of DNA which we want to go for it. Ligases, when we have to attach the DNA, maybe the host DNA and the desired DNA, maybe the plasmid DNA, vector DNA and the desired DNA, wherever we have to attach. Ligases means addition. Vectors are mostly plasmids. They can be unarmed viruses. Unarmed means certain viruses which will not cause disease. So they have been modified for the working of the biotechnology. One of an example, not of a virus but of a bacteria, Agrobacterium. This tumnificens. This bacteria is extensively used in biotechnology for transferring of the desired DNA to the host cell. So these are all vectors which will carry the desired DNA with them and they will enter the host cell to deliver it out. Host organism can be a bacteria. E. coli is extensively used as a host organism, but even plant cells, animal cells, they can be also used as a host organism for producing our desired biomolecule, enzyme or any kind of product. This is a brief introduction to the biotechnology. Here, let's have a look at a video.
Principles of biotechnology, genetic engineering. In vitro DNA technology used to isolate genes from an organism, manipulate them in laboratory as per desire, and insert them into another cell system for specific genetic trait. The conceptual development of the principle of genetic engineering. The techniques of genetic engineering include creation of recombinant DNA, use of gene cloning and gene transfer, which helps to isolate and introduce only one or a set of desirable genes without introducing undesirable genes into the target organism. When a piece of DNA is introduced into alien organism, this piece of DNA would not be able to multiply itself in the progeny cells of the organism. But when it gets integrated into the genome of the recipient, it may multiply and be inherited along with the host DNA. This is because the alien piece of DNA has become the part of the chromosome, which has the ability to replicate. The construction of an artificial recombinant DNA molecule emerged from the possibility of linking a gene encoding antibiotic resistance with the native plasmid of Salmonella typhimurium. Stanley Cohen and Herbert Boyer accomplished this in 1972 by isolating the antibiotic resistance gene by cutting out a piece of DNA from a plasmid which was responsible for conferring antibiotic resistance. The cutting of DNA at specific locations became possible with the discovery of molecular scissors, restriction enzymes. The cut piece of DNA was then linked with plasmid DNA. These plasmid DNA act as vectors to transfer the piece of DNA attached to it. Plasmid is used as vector to deliver an alien piece of DNA into the host organism. The linking of antibiotic resistance gene with the plasmid vector became possible with enzyme DNA ligase, which acts on cut DNA molecules and joins their ends. This makes a new combination of circular autonomously replicating DNA created in vitro and is known as recombinant DNA. When